All right, so Pulsar's here. We can get started. Pulsar was specifically just waiting for you. Good morning, good afternoon, happy Sunday to everyone. To my fellow Americans, happy football Sunday. To anybody who's not American, happy whatever it is that you do on Sunday. It's the end of the final it's last week of the season. Football season flies by. It absolutely flies by. Zero, good morning. Oh man, I don't know which way to look here. I'll tell you one thing that is great about I have like literally all of my breakfast still on my face. Mrs. Baba did not stop me before I came on air. Who was gonna tell me? Who was gonna tell me? I have egg. Hold on. We're back. I'll try this again. So, the lesson I learned this morning is don't try to eat food really, really quickly and then come downstairs and hop on camera. At least not without looking in the mirror first. Well, happy Sunday. I think today we got a cool opportunity to kind of expand on what we were talking about yesterday. So for the folks that joined late yesterday or didn't have a chance to join, essentially what we covered was this concept of having an initiative that is started by and run by players in the community to give us the opportunity to give people who are coming in on a limited budget or no budget at all the opportunity to kind of get going without needing to really have a robust wallet, as well as also help some of those folks that do have maybe a smaller budget get going a little bit quicker. So we are Uh, Eric, we're gonna put pen to paper today. I have OneNote open. I'll do a share screen there, and I'm just gonna go through some questions and topics. And I'd love to get the community's thoughts, opinions, and feedback on specific items. And we're not gonna be able to, I guess, completely agree on everything, and not everything can or should be unanimous. But we'll use this as an opportunity to create a program or a framework that everybody has had an opportunity to voice their opinion on, share their thoughts and feedback. So this is going to be one of those things where what we build is going to be based off of what I hear or don't hear in chat today. So please feel free. I'd love to see chat light up. I'm going to try to do some stuff with polls and stuff like that. So we'll see if that'll work. But yeah, that's the plan today. Just a quick brainstorm. Shouldn't be anything too long. Yeah, Eric, my wardrobe is very it's whatever is clean or cleanest the in the morning. BB, hello, hello. Yeah, Eric, when you say Calvin Klein, the only thing I can think of is I don't know if you ever watched Seinfeld, but there's an episode of Seinfeld where Kramer um, runs into Calvin Klein on the streets of New York, and Calvin's like, "You should be a model for me." And now all I can think of is Kramer doing his model poses and his tidy whities. So that's a reference that hopefully somebody will appreciate. Nobody knows what Seinfeld is then. Yikes! All right, so let's see. Let's talk about what we're working on here. So the first thing we talked about, or not the first thing, but one of the things that we talked about yesterday that I think is really, really important is in order for us to figure out what we have to build and what it should look like and what are all the different variables that we have to take into account, first thing we have to figure out is who are we building this program for? So we talked yesterday, there were a lot of good ideas about, you know, this not needing to, nor should it be a one size fits all solution. So we have an opportunity right now to talk about who are the types of community members that we would want to attract, specifically using this program. And I think what we can do is we can actually do a couple things here. We initially thought about this as something for somebody on a small budget. You could also make a case, and I think Vitaly mentioned this in chat yesterday, the notion of like influencers and other stuff, where what we're creating doesn't actually have to be limited to people who are just on a smaller budget. Maybe there is a different framework or a different set of rules and protocols depending on who that person is. So, what I would ask is for the folks who are joining, toss in chat your thoughts about who it is that we should be building this program for. Also, I only use OneNote every so often, and this today happens to be so often. Mix. Hello, my friend. Phoebe, you're new on Twitch. I'm new on Twitch too. I'm glad you joined. Eric doesn't know what a Twitter cover picture is. Eric Walker. Eric Walker. You don't know. It's not your profile picture. It's when you load up your page and you see your image, your profile picture, the big background to that. You know, the one that I have on my page that's giant and gaudy and has a massive zoom of my face. That. Yes, Eric, I like that. Okay, so question: how do you qualify those people and keep on the targeted audience in the program? So that's absolutely perfect. So what Eric's talking about, we're going to get to kind of as part of bullet number 3, which is the questionnaire and application process. So we're spot on. As soon as we figure out who it is that we want to build this program for, we can then figure out as part of the application process, or essentially the application / review process, how we ensure that we're maintaining the integrity of the program that we've constructed and staying true to those guiding principles. All right, no budget. I love that. Okay, so let me jot this down. You're talking no budget, low budget. I like that. No, Eric, that's completely fine because there are other people that missed a conversation, and the great thing is shout it out because it'll give me an opportunity to reground us in whatever that question or topic is. There are other folks in the chat that didn't make it to yesterday as well, so all good. Lux, potential for a bad actor finding out what is being looked for, generating a number of interested members. This game is huge. Yes. Okay, so let me do here like a little we'll call watchouts. All right, I'll jot that down. I love that. And feel for like I want to focus first on the types of players because we need like that's the prerequisite for everything else we're going to talk about. But any ideas, any like just random thoughts, blurt it out in chat because I'll just jot it down, and when it becomes applicable for us to talk a little bit more in detail about it, we can dive into it. It is kind of like a classroom. Eric, this is almost what I do for a living. I feel like this is what happens. I get sit down in a meeting like, all right, guys, here's what we're talking about. This is what we're trying to get to. What does success look like here? I need that whiteboard, man. I need the whiteboard. I got to figure that out. I forget what it's called, but I am just getting ready to order that tablet. I think that we talked about the other day, Eric, the one so that I can mount it over here and draw on it, and it'll be like a digital whiteboard on the screen. Short one-on-one chat will eliminate any bot. Okay, so some verification step required to confirm. All right. Sweet. I'll have it, Pulse. Yep, some kind of verification process. All right, so no budget and low budget. How would we define low budget? Because low budget's going to be relative. Do we have anything in mind as far as what qualifies as low budget? And let's talk about in terms of Tron itself. So not US dollars, the European. Do you guys still use the pound? The euro? I don't know what you guys use anymore. Buttons, shells, I don't know. Because I think the term of budget and affordability is going to be relative depending on where you are in the world. So if we think about the amount of Tron that a person has, what is low budget? Is it 1,000 Tron? Is it 2? Is it 5,000? Is it 500? Hard to keep up. No, but Eric, I get to be the guinea pig. I order it and test it and tell you if it's crap or not. And if you like it, then you buy it. I'm like the canary in the coal mine. Low income, low opportunity members with keen interest are best. Let them be hungry. Feel like information for influencers is great, but giving resources to those that are already drawing revenue might be bad. I love that, and I completely agree with it. So we'll call it because Vitaly mentioned it yesterday. Lux, you just mentioned again. I'm gonna jot it down, just for the notion that they are potentially applicable, not to actually help them get started with resources like materials and assets, but information and education. Right? We'll call it like educational onboarding. Because that's MCP's. MCP's job needs to be to fund anybody like that. Okay. Budget is relative. Completely spot on, Eric. I think we should qualify no budget under 1K. Okay. Until somebody says anything different, I'm gonna put this here. Under 1K. Okay. And is there a world where somebody, at the 5,000 to 10,000 Tron mark should be part of this in some way, shape, or form? Again, keeping in mind that bullet number 2 here is the potential for different levels of support. Oh, I like that. Um, uh, yes. Cut off based on current barrier to entry. I love that. So I think what Lux is saying is essentially it could actually be a moving target, and it's relative to the game's economy. Whatever it costs to essentially buy a plot of land, buy a citizen, buy the materials needed to build your building, that's kind of your entry price. So if that works out to be 1,500 Tron, that's what our low budget mark is. Anybody below that falls under that essentially like I don't, for lack of a better term, like like the below entry rate. And I like that Lux, right? That allows it to be dynamic. Yes. Okay. Um, and Paul's right. 1,000 Tron. If you're lucky in an opening, you can snag a plot. You're not going to snag a plot off the secondary for less than 1,000. And it could grow. Lux, to your point with Mega World. Vitali, are we playing this program till Mega World goes live? It's meant to be an interim solution, and I hesitate to call it an interim solution. I think it's something I want to get online before Mega World because I don't want us as a community to be dependent on MCP's timelines, and I don't want us to be I don't want new players to be dependent on World coming out for them to become part of our community. I'd like to lay the groundwork so that somebody who wants to come in and join and really actually have that last chance to be part of the microeconomy before World comes in and theoretically prices even more people out. I think that's why I want to get it done now. But when World rolls out, um, you probably see something similar. The program might pivot a little bit, but actually then I look at it as not us onboarding new players into the game. I look at this as us helping to accelerate and incubate people who are playing Mega World with no to low budget and giving them that opportunity to come and move into the microeconomy to start their own corporation and do stuff like that, if that makes sense. Sanchez, hello, hello. Pulse, you got it, absolutely. Yeah, and you could have there could be an additional variation of this or additional level of support that is specifically for free to play players that's more geared towards world resources and assets versus the microeconomy assets. So for now, think about it as we're building to focus on onboarding into microeconomy before World comes out. And then when World comes out, there would be a version 2 of this or an additional layer of infrastructure and support that we could build out to then help facilitate either like somebody getting going in Mega World or transitioning and saying, I've been playing World for a while, I've saved up some money, I really want to start my own microeconomy operation so that I in turn can have my own scholars. We would try to kind of pave that path for them. Sanchez, it's important to create an active community, but even more important is to create a strong and united community. Spot on, my friend. Uh, Zero, just like with Pink. Yeah, and that's a great example, right? So, like, there are some folks that honestly doesn't even matter what your budget is or isn't. We just want you to be part of the community. And we're not talking about influencers. We're not talking about like, oh, this person's well known and famous. We want you here. It's genuinely like Pink is part of our community. She was playing on the Ethereum side, loves the game, is just a vibrant and positive personality in the community. Like, why would we not want her to also be able to be part of our little community as well? So yes, there's um, yeah, and maybe that's it. It's not necessarily like a transitional program to get somebody from Ethereum to Tron or Tron to Ethereum. I think we probably want to shy away from that because until, put it this way, until we can do the same thing on the Ethereum side with an onboarding program, I wouldn't want to create anything or focus resources on drawing focus from a player base away from one city to the other. But once both are online, you can actually have a very symbiotic program which actually is something that Slats does. Slats owns a Tron district, he owns an Ethereum district, and he makes sure that the folks who build in both, if they want to move to the other city, he provides some assistance with that as well. Eric, enjoy the breakfast, buddy. Hope to see you back soon. Eat for me because Mrs. Baba told me last night, said, I think I'm gonna wake up early in the morning and make some waffles or pancakes or something. And I was like, yes, I love waffles, I love pancakes, I love breakfast. That's awesome. At 9:50, we rolled out of bed. So I have not eaten breakfast. Well, I scarfed a little bit of egg and sandwich down, which I really just got on my face. I didn't even really get much in my mouth. Yes, Vitaly. The objective here would be build something that build something with the future in mind, knowing that we are going to potentially want to evolve or adapt this program relative to how the game, and the project itself evolve. But we're going to focus on onboarding folks into the microeconomy, but acknowledge that there's a lot that we can do with this, depending on what we ourselves want to invest of our own time, our own resources, and our own emotions. Lux, you're making waffles now. Damn it. All right, I'm living vicariously through you guys. Making me hungry. All right, so right now we've got no budget, low budget. I don't hear anybody speaking up and saying, hey, like there really should be something for somebody who is, has enough to buy a couple plots of land, but is bootstrapping. It sounds like we're going to say for now that's out of scope, and we're really focusing on people who actually might want to or be capable of bootstrapping, but not even have enough to get going there. So we'll leave them out for now. Yeah, why are we talking about food? I know that as a streamer, I'm supposed to go with the flow, and whatever happens in chat, like we roll with it. But damn it, food right now is like, it's like if I really had to pee, and you guys are like, "Hey, I'm visiting Niagara Falls next week. It's really really pretty." Like, okay. So no budget, low budget. Low budget could be defined relative to the current entry point of the not the program, the project. Let's talk about different levels of support and investment from the community. So if we assume that we've got a no budget and a low budget support system in place, that would in theory mean that we would probably want to support the no budget applicant differently than the low budget. So can we think about anything where any situation, or I guess an example of how we would want to invest in the no budget player? Talk to me about what you as an individual and what we as a community should be willing to invest in them. Let's forget about for a second, like the time period of how long we support them. What is that initial thing that we can do and provide to them that's going to be, super helpful? Ed here, random thought. If I may offer a different perspective, yes, please do. The dollar defined poverty line is currently at $1.90, currently about 27 Tron. If you can get someone to $2 a day income, you can basically offer a support program for a third world person to actually have a tool. I'm getting shivers as I'm reading this, to build out of poverty, and given that participation becomes crucial to that person. You might be sourcing some long-term active participants, and if publicity is important, no, that's literally the exact perspective that I was hoping that somebody would be able to provide. That is amazing, because part of this is for, it's intended to serve multiple purposes, right? It's intended to help the project. It's intended to help grow the community. But when all is said and done, we need to remind ourselves that the most important thing is our own collective humanity. And for me, if this is in fact a philanthropic program, we should be like that. That to me, if you said to me, Baba, like, if you could donate X amount, it would have an impact on the lives of 20 people, like right there, what Ed just said, that would make me reach into my pocket and say, I'm funding this program with 20,000 Tron, specifically for those types of applicants. Okay, so um, Ed, that's a great call out. It's not a watch out. It's context. Poverty line fine. And is that a $1.90 per day? $1.90 per hour? What is that? Uh, Lux. One thing I would say at the end of the day, although we've built a great community, the play to earn economy is inherently competitive. This could be a great tool to allow those below the poverty line to build up, but for those with the resources to launch themselves, even if it is humble, they do need to do so on their own. All right, so I like that. So again, it's the opportunity cost and the actual moral dilemma is not the right word, but it's almost like if you've got if we have resources to help people, is it should we should we be redirecting resources that could have a life-changing impact on somebody below the poverty line or somebody who is capable of raising their own capital and playing, but maybe is on the fence about doing so? I think Lux is kind of what you're getting at. Let me know if I'm wrong on that. Per day. Okay. That's 190 per day. Wow. Okay. So for industrial, in order to get about 800 Tron per month, you need 30 to 40,000 Tron. But that's also at the current mega price. Right? So as part of this too, I think we have to contemplate the fact that this is all based off of the price of mega, right? So there's extreme dependence on price of mega. Currently at 93 Tron per mega. Okay. All right. No, Lux, I love that as like a grounding statement and guiding principle, which is how do we as a community, like when all is said and done, what are we here for and why are we doing this? Are we doing this first and foremost to grow the community in the game, or are we here first and foremost to bring play to earn a play to earn opportunity to somebody who would be supremely appreciative of it? And I could make an argument that by focusing on somebody like that, you actually create, like, you literally can replicate that intense passion, that and culture that the Axie community has built for that exact reason, that everybody is just so grateful and appreciative to be part of that game and the opportunities that they present themselves. I love how we have actually somehow stumbled upon the true nature of a scholarship program. Okay. Um, oh, Maz, good morning. Maz, you got coffee and apparently waffles coming too. So that's pretty cool. Pulse, is poverty line is it the same globally? I feel like it probably is, but always grounded in the US dollar because, you know, us Americans think the world revolves around us. For context, Pulse is having beer because it's 6 p.m. there. Okay, so we're talking about coffee and waffles, and Pulse is talking about beer. Time zone. Okay. So Ed, I love that idea. What I would really appreciate, and I don't want to put it on you, like the burden on you to do that, but because you call it out, if you have any articles or anything that you come across tied to, um, what that threshold is, and what the biggest difference maker is in getting somebody who is below that to above it and keeping them above, that would be helpful, because I'm also thinking about like context. If you are below the poverty line, like there's folks who are below the poverty line, and we should be trying to do something to help them out. The um, the prerequisite though is access to internet and technology that would allow you to play the game as well. So that'll be one thing we have to contend with. So I'm just gonna put here. Actually, be more of a watch out than context. Nah, screw it. I'll put it under context. Consumer, but access. Okay. Zero's having beer too. As that is very, very true. But I think the good thing is there are lots of people that are more single-minded. We as a collective world or society become, we ourselves start to become that much more aware of it and try to offset, through little things that we ourselves can afford to impact and influence. Bigger problem, short of forming a legal entity so that you can run a background check through a third-party service, how will you properly vet someone as below the line? Yeah, I don't... And that's the thing, Lux. I don't know. I don't know. I think there is... Yeah. How do we vet people based off criteria that we state is... Great question. Ed, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll be on the lookout. Yeah, Lux, that's a really good question. I mean, I think when it comes down to it, there's going to have to be some element of trust that goes out there. Since we're talking about small amounts of resources and capital, I probably feel a little bit more comfortable like talking to everybody here and saying, let's build something that's based on, checks and balances where we can, but also an assumption that at the end of the day, whilst, a couple folks might trickle through that are, potentially bad actors or not truly below the poverty line, as long as we get just one person through who is below, maybe that's a win. If our investment in those people that come through is, 2,000 Tron worth of assets and materials. It's a balancing act, but you're spot on, totally. Lots of money wasted on alcohol mass for sure. Not in the moment, the next day. So maybe Vitali, is there anything in the Axie community that you've seen that they do that is helpful or effective for vetting? Lux, on the notion of like checking the Tron, checking the Tron, wow, checking the Tron wallet. So that would be a prerequisite, right? The ability to set up a Tron wallet, and have in some cases the wallet funded at like 10 Tron just to confirm that they actually can get access to Tron, which is what they will need in order to be self-sufficient in the event that like the in-game economy takes a little bit of a downturn. Um, the Your point though is consistency, but the challenge becomes, okay, if this person is actually truly below the poverty line and this is their first opportunity to play to earn, they probably haven't had a chance to acquire any of this stuff. So it's like that self-fulfilling prophecy that the person who's below poverty line will be almost impossible to prove to us, without sharing any personal information that they are in fact below the poverty line, because we don't have any. It's like that the person that you can't lend anything money to because they don't have credit, because they've never asked to borrow anything. Recommendations. Okay. All right. So Italia says, predominantly entrants are from recommendations and references. Okay. All right. So there is potentially some semblance of a need for recommendation or references. All right. So I think we got a handful of things to keep an eye out there. Recommendations and references, or some type of, if verification becomes critical, um, we have some measures we can put in place without going overboard. If we needed to go overboard, we could, but I venture a guess to say that unless this whole game and community takes off and goes meteoric on us, we probably don't have the resources or time to do that. Okay. All right. So let's talk then about the different levels of support. Um, so based off of the concept or notion of no budget versus low budget, and we can probably then draw on the distinction that the no budget player is more along the lines of that below the poverty line, um, versus the low budget, which is somebody who has self-sufficiently accumulated or acquired some capital, but could really use, a hand to get started, um, and kind of bridge that gap between what they have and what is needed to get going, effectively. So, how would we think about supporting? Let's talk about the no budget. Let's establish what we would potentially do to support the no budget player, and then from there we can figure out what would be different if this was a low budget. So for no budget, what do we think is the most important thing? First and foremost, we put in their hands. On the Tron side, my immediate thought goes to a citizen because there is no free citizen. Okay, Pulse. So when all is said and done, the ability the ability to produce something that you can then turn around and sell for a profit. That's our it has to that's our minimum hurdle. And free citizen. Okay, so Pulse, it sounds like you like the framework that the concept that we currently have as the current champion. You think that we're largely in the right ballpark there? Zero. Business plan is needed for low budget. I think zero on the business plan idea. It goes back to, as part of the application process, some way to confirm that you have an understanding of the game and you're not just a random person who heard that we're giving out free stuff and you'll get it and now you'll figure out what to do. You have to have some idea. You have to be able to come in as part of your application and explain what you want to do in the game. Maybe something along those lines. Lux, go for it, my friend. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. And great call outs. You gave us a lot of stuff to think about. All right, so Pulse, the no budget sounds like the framework that we have right now is actually a great fit for the no budget. All right, so then low budget, current concept works. Talk about that was the no budget, not the low budget. Budget, low budget. All right, so then let's talk about the low budget. What's different for somebody who has Tron, let's call it 1,000, 2,000, but does not have quite enough to get started and get started in a way that they're actually truly set up for success? And I guess being set up for success, we would probably define as having a level 1 industrial that is staffed and profitable. Regardless of what that margin of profitability is, it has to be profitable. So what do we think is important for that person? And keeping in mind that this person maybe actually has the means to acquire stuff on their own. We're just trying to help bridge that gap between that last little bit, to really get them in a place where there's a much better chance that they're going to be successful and enjoy themselves, versus potentially make a small mistake at the beginning, and because they have zero room for error, they make a mistake that essentially takes them out of the game. So maybe then for the low budget, what we're going to be looking for is probably, in this case, something that will help improve the efficiency of their supply chain or the profitability of their supply chain. Profitability of supply chain and reduce risk of catastrophic so low budget is about really just helping them bootstrap. I think it might be best to limit no budget to 3 months. That would be free citizen, free rental, and collection costs covered. After 3 months, we've got 12 collections, and everyone has gotten for the feel for the game by then. So at 3 months, that's 12 collections. 12 collection. We pull up HQ. I want to see what those 12 collections would translate to for actual materials. So we can figure out after 12 months, do they have enough not only to take money out for themselves, because below the no budget, if it's below poverty line, they're going to have to draw these funds out of the game. So industrial. Let's see, a level 1, let's say with wood, talking about a minimum yield of 150. If you're working with a super, super low grade citizen, you're probably going to be right about that 150. Let's call it maybe 175. 175. Up. Wow. 2100. 2100 wood. So 2100 wood. That would mean pull up the vault and stuff. I wonder again, like current price of Mega is one thing, but what that 2100 would roughly translate to. It's low budget. I found a lot of help in the HQ guide. Citizen rent discount would help a lot, but having a level prop would probably be enough to build on. A concern is knowing that you can profitably sell your produce, especially because all your capital is locked up in the asset and you have no cash flow. Yes. So the continuity, if that free rental was maintained, it'd be perfect because yeah, you can produce, make money, take money out, and you're self-sufficient. That person, the no budget player needs to come out of the program being able to operate. Okay, here's what I'm gonna put here. Player needs to be able to complete onboarding and self-sufficient in operating a level 1 industrial profitably. That's our benchmark of success until somebody tells me differently. Our no budget program needs to bring somebody in and get them to the point that when their time in that program is done and we're taking back that free rental, that they are in a place where they are now able to continue to play the game in a profitable manner. Okay. Enough to swap for sand and metal for level 1. 3 months with low stat citizen gives you only about 400 Tron, but you can then stay to arbitrage materials. Well, that's a good point, Druid. That's a good point. Is that as part of this process, they can learn, if they invest the time, they can learn about, arbitraging the markets. That's definitely true. So what's that gap? It's 400 Tron. I think for no budget, it should be 3 months for free and then graduate to tier 2 when they pay a cheaper rent for another 6 months. Okay. So step them up. Gradually remove that safety net, but don't pull out from them as soon as that. I like that. Multiple tiers of support. First months free rental. Next 6 months. Okay, just as an example, what we're saying here is the first 3 months you'd be free. The next 6 or however long, you would be paying something just to make sure that you're aware and you understand the concepts and you've got skin in the game. But it's nothing that's, cost prohibitive. I like that a lot. Okay, so what we'd be saying is we'd actually be looking for rentals that will provide something back to the owner, which is nice too, right? Like I do like that because then it's not like you have to volunteer and lose a building for 6 months. It's it's a long-term rental. And that long-term rental, that could even be something that if the fund is acquiring land cheap, the fund could build those buildings, and that revenue coming back in from those 6 months could be, while it would be very, very small, that could be what's used to kind of help fund additional stuff with the fund. Yes, it would. We would have to, in order for the free rental to not be the Achilles heel of the program and the bottleneck, we would have to make sure that we are freeing up properties or getting in new properties at a quicker rate than we're accepting applicants. So what it's starting to sound like is our low budget is taking the form of discounts to assist bootstrapping and profit. And then gap solutions for whatever they're missing to. So essentially, whatever is preventing them from operating their building in a profitable manner. So I'm not going to call it self-sufficient. I'm just going to say profitable for a period of time in a level 1. Okay. All right. So I like where we're going with this. We've identified 2 very distinct types of people that we would be including this program, that we would be building this program for. Your no budget, we're entering into more of a long-term investment in them, whereas the low budget is essentially, what can I do for you right here and now to get you to be able to operate profitably? So low budget might actually be more of a more transactional one-time thing, whereas no budget is, we're essentially kind of bringing you in and holding your hand until you get on your feet and you're able to kind of stand on your own. For low budget, so Pulsar says for low budget, I would suggest a marketplace dedicated to this, a Discord channel or page on MHQ. Yep, I like it. Obviously there'll be certain folks that could try to take advantage of that, but we'll make sure, I think, as people come on that are part of the program, we can just make sure people are aware, hey, so-and-so is now in the onboarding program, so if you want to support them, here's what we'd ask that you do. Looking at for the vault. So 2100 wood is what, roughly a little bit shy of 4 mega. And okay. Yes, I mean, that's not bad. Not bad. And also, if mega goes through any type of growth from the point in time that the person takes over the building, that's all upside. And those are already sunk costs. So it's not like the cost of our program is going to go, the cost for us to maintain a program is going to go up, because the energy and water will continuously be getting donated. That I'm sure we can keep up with. At the bare minimum, I can take energy from the Ethereum and the Ethereum side and swap with somebody on the Tron side for it. So I'm not super concerned about the energy or water for a while. The cost of citizens could jump up if there's any type of advancement with the world and the scholar program. So citizens could become a challenge. However, if citizens go through the roof because there's now scholars and play to earn free to plays are operating buildings for us, that we actually wouldn't need to provide this person with a citizen. We would just actually start to provide them with world tokens as part of the onboarding to allow them to pay somebody to come and do it. Or alternatively, they could also still embrace that free to play model, use somebody's citizen as their avatar, and then also use it to collect from their own building, and it would be an additional source of revenue. Because it's hard to find new players, even now I'll need about 2,000 water in the next month. I'd love to get it from some new players, even if I pay a few Tron extra. Oh, I see what you're saying, Pulse. It's for people in this program to find people to purchase stuff from them. I got you. Okay. I like that. Like, how do we create full wallet here? I guess it's really, it's not limited to no. It would be no or low budget. Help connect them with buyers. Like that. Okay. Buyers. Very good. Very, very good. Oh. Let me try something. I want to try a poll. See if this actually works. All right, so our poll is going to be, are there other types of players besides no low budget? Oh, I ran out of characters. All right, let's see if this works. The duration for 2 minutes. Is there a poll in chat or something? Maybe not. Do this. I don't know how this works. Great. Type of players on. Yeah, okay, so a role. I like that. It would be a role dependent and then a channel where they could post. I like that idea a lot. And it does show. Okay, awesome. So I don't need to drop the URL. Neat. What does it look like? See, this is where I need to do a little research and understand this myself. Down. Oh, it appears up there. I see it. Cool. Okay. Right. All right. So we have the idea of no and low budget. Perfect. Roll. Roll scored. identify to enable special marketplace. All right, so we will drop that here. Sweet. Those who have a budget but need help with a plan. All right, I like that. I like that. This is a potentially a so what do we call that? They have a sufficient budget. They just need assistance with developing a plan. Full-ended. Okay. All right, so 2 people said yes, there are people besides no and low budget applicants that want to support. So Pulse is talking about that person who has a sufficient budget but needs like educational support. Is there anybody else? For lack of any better, we'll say budget secured. Oh. So how do we support them, Pulse? Right, that'll be one of the challenges, Ed. Right, so the material that makes the most sense for people to go to the marketplace for is going to be energy and water, because everything else can be pulled from the vault. But energy and water is also something that is probably cost prohibitive to most new players because of the actual price of the land. So it would have to, for the most part, be construction, simple, basic, industrial materials that somebody would go out of their way to not buy from the vault and specifically buy from a newer player. Okay. All right. So the folks, Limix, that we're talking about that have the budget, provide them with initial energy and water to get started. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, so it's like a energy, water, safety net, and support if needed. I like it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I forgot to turn my space heater off. Limix, are we getting that overdrive sound again? I was trying to figure out why I wasn't like freezing, because normally after about an hour I start to get really, really cold because I turn that space heater off. It's better? Okay, awesome. I have to figure some stuff out with audio because I've got the gain really, really low. The hopes that if there's any stomping happening upstairs, it's not coming through. Gotta keep tinkering with that. Right. All right, so an energy and water safety net. And then, so what about sourcing that information or helping them get answers to their questions? For that player who has their budget secured and really just needs informational and educational support, what's our best way to help that doesn't already exist? Oh, I like it. Okay, so Pulse, you're talking essentially like, hey, I've got 10,000 Tron. I'm ready to play this game. Help me create a strategy and a plan that is going to set me up for success. Okay. So how do we go about solving for that any differently than the way that we do it currently today? I'm not saying we do a great job of it today. I'm just saying like what has to be different for us to be able to say we were successful in executing against that opportunity. We could leverage the MCPHQ Discord for those folks. So for the education only folks, we could onboard them and invite them to the HQ Discord and then help them out there. That would be one place. The other situation would be matching them with a mentor, like a one-on-one thing. However, that's not necessarily sustainable and could create a lot of pressure on one person or multiple people to always be able to provide information. Okay. So Pulse, maybe it's just about a more proactively marketing that there's folks in the community that really want to help them. We just need to know that they're looking for assistance. So don't be afraid to ask questions. I get where you're going with that, I think. Proactively market community as a resource, help answer questions, and build a strategy. Good call out, Ed. Yep. Again, it's one of those, like, because MCP is not doing anything in the game to link back to HQ, the only way that you know about it is if it's discussed in Discord and you happen to see it. There's no like, you're not hit in the face. It's not in the resources channel. MCP doesn't reference it at all. Okay. So as part of this, it's like that this onboarding program, it's maybe just like presenting them with a little fact pack or checklist of these are the resources available to you if you want to learn more or dive deeper. And if there's anything that you come across or don't come across that you need help with, then we advise that you hop into the Tron chat and ask questions. And we can also try to ask, MCP to be more proactive in driving people to a specific, either to the HQ site or to a specific page or anything like that. Okay, I like that. So we have to MCP not currently raising awareness, educational resources, HQ and community. Some people don't know just know to ask for help. I like it. Yes, and Paul, so that's exactly it. Like, every once in a while, there are people who claim it's a scam because it's a bad mistake they make. They make a mistake. They feel as though they weren't well informed and set up for success. They start lashing out. And the fact of the matter is, you made a mistake. We're trying to make sure that people who come in and play the game are able to make decisions and take actions and be highly accountable for those actions and decisions. Ed found in Discord the spreadsheet that Andy shared for calculations. Awesome. Again, it's like, Ed, you're a perfect example. Like, this is exactly what we're looking for. Somebody like you is the ideal person that we're trying to help here, regardless of what your budget is or isn't. We're trying to play the game of connect somebody like you with the things that you need to be set up for success. And being set up for success starts with having the assets that you need to produce materials, but also is that you have the knowledge or the access to information that you need to either create your own plan and strategy, or to ask those clarifying questions in a safe environment where you can trust the advice and consultation that you receive. Yeah, Pulse, right. Somebody built a level 6 municipal, didn't research, didn't understand the game first, and then complained because it wasn't profitable. And there, again, there's an element of, like, we can't build everybody's plan for them. We can show them, like, this is the path towards the water. Here are the things to watch out for on the way. We can't give them exact directions on every single footstep that they should take, because that's actually not helping them and it's not helping the game, because they're not learning how to do that on their own. I mean, like, it's crazy. Literally, what we're talking about is a scholarship program. Maybe years from now, people will see what we've done, and this will become what is called a scholarship, and we'll have some better terminology for what scholars are today. Right, Paulson. And the opportunity cost was also, because for that price of a level 6 municipal, they probably could have come damn close to building a level 6 industrial, which would have been highly profitable. Yeah, it's a great point. Great point. Okay, so let's talk about the questionnaire and application. So forget for a second about how we review and select people, like what that criteria is for how we're going to decide that person A gets help if a person B doesn't. What are the things that you, as a member of the community and part of this initiative, want to know about an applicant in order to make a decision, regardless of whether they're no or low budget? And I think a lot of people, that's something that catches a lot of people off guard. It's a thing that I can definitely say. I'm pleasantly surprised with how friendly and helpful the community has been so far. That makes me very, very happy to hear, because I think that that's one of the things that is most often not known, because we do have, like, unfortunately, usually all of the chatter in the Discord, we get distracted by the bullshit and the negativity and the toxicity, and it just buries all of the collaboration and help and positivity. And unfortunately, lots of lurkers and new players come in and they see that, and they don't necessarily see that same amount of help and positive vibes, which is something we have to change. So, to that point, everything that we do with this onboarding program, we actually want to probably try to make it as public as possible versus all being done via DM, because it gives us the opportunity to just continually showcase how the community works together to help people. And anybody who reads something, you answering a question for some person that has asked it, it's going to help them, but there's probably 3 or 4 other people who are lurking and not asking that question that's going to benefit them as well. So getting stuff out in the open, great not only for transparency, but also for indirectly guiding other people. All right, so what do we want to know about somebody who is coming to us saying, hey, I really want to be part of this? What do I need to tell you to convince you that I would be a great asset to this community, and that if you invest in me, it's going to make a real difference in my life or my overall gameplay experience? So what I can do is, we have the questionnaire and application set up, or if we know what we want to ask, I can start building that form on MCPHQ and start to create that ingestion process. It is a tough one, Pulse. It is, because how do you? It needs to be. We need to be sourcing certain bits of information without being intrusive. I think that's important, because nobody should ever feel as though it's almost like this isn't about tell me who you are. Is it who you are doesn't matter. It's not about, oh, sell me on a sad story. It's not tell me, where you live or what time zone you're in. It's almost like, how would this opportunity help you? How would this opportunity change your experience? Oh, yeah, you did. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. And I'll check that out. Do you want me to pull it up? And I can pull it up on another screen, and I can use it as the baseline. I won't actually share the screen. I'll just I'll throw it up on one of my monitors, and I'll talk through what you've shared if you're cool with that. I apologize. I'm terrible with DMs. Also, usually what will happen is I'll get a notification, I'll read it, and I'll be in the middle of something, and then just like when you get a text message and you left it unread, and then you come back around and you look and like, oh, no new DMs, and you move on, but you actually just never responded to the other ones. All right. So, what does Ed say here? Okay. All right. So Pulse wants to know how you found out about game. All right. I'm gonna walk through. Keep tossing stuff up in the chat. That would be perfect. I'll switch back and forth. But for now, I'll walk through kind of what Ed has shared. You know what? Actually, how about Ed? Do you mind if I copy and paste exactly what you sent to me into a new tab on OneNote, and I'll share it on screen versus me reading it off? Sorry, I hate it when people do screenshots of DMs and stuff. I think it's a complete intrusion of privacy. So I just want to double check to make sure you are cool with that, my friend. Yeah. So Pulse, there's essentially there's some stuff that there's some inputs we need, not because it's going to help us determine if this person is relevant or not. We just want it's like marketing data. We need some metadata on our applicants to understand where they're coming from, how they found out. Because if we're doing anything on our side to promote this, we want to learn what's effective. Questions that help us understand the effectiveness of our marketing or amplification of this program opportunity. Okay. Well, second, what is your plan for the game? Do you want long-term passive income? Do you want short-term gains? Okay. What is our primary objective? Long-term passive income or short-term gains? Oh, no problem, Ed. Ed, I just want to double check. What I was going to do is I was going to open another tab on OneNote and just copy and paste the questions that you had DM'd me. I just want to double check that you're cool with that. Drip. Hey, now I think this. Let me see. Is hold up. Let me try to match Discord name with a Twitch account. Let's see. Ooh, little man's running around up there. Crypto in Discord, right? Welcome. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. Ed, you're cool with that? Okay, sweet. All right, so then let me. Where's my Discord? There we go. Take. I think this is here. Oh, I did not paste the formatting. Well, that's a gigantic pain. And I keep source, but this is not source formatting. Okay. Ooh, there we go. Okay. All right. So, let's see here. All right. So, is the person? So, what we're trying to identify is the person likable? Are they going to be a positive impact on the community? Which I think that's definitely important, right? We want to confirm maybe, yeah, this is, what do we want to learn? Slash, what to learn or know before making a decision. Will this person be a positive influence community? I like that. Drip, what is the wallet address? Wallet address. Problem, buddy. Thank you for asking questions in Discord. It's really, really important. And also, just so you know, Drip, I don't want you to think that because I think Joe is responding initially. We've had a handful of people that have come over to ask leading questions in the Tron chat specifically to try to slander the coin and that part of the game, just to drum up trouble. So we're a little bit on edge when we see a new account enter and ask very specific questions about Tron as a coin and the project and stuff like that. Because in the past, we've got a handful of folks that really like to create a whole bunch of brand new accounts every once in a while and just pretend to be a random person and start shit that way. So don't take that personally. We're a little bit on edge. Yeah, it really is. It is, Pulse. It is, because the second that one person says something, it just creates this like friggin' never-ending war. It is what it is. So yeah, just the heads up, Drip. That's why you might have encountered a little bit of hesitation, or all right. So will this help the person? Will this help the community and the economy grow? Have they done enough research? Yes. So have they done enough research to understand the game? Like it. What do they have? What do they need? All right, so this gets into that notion of, is this a no budget or low budget? Okay. See that once. Yes, this is very, very true. Yep, it's like clockwork. Once a month. It's like everybody just comes together in this one time where there's been enough bullshit happening in their lives outside of the game that they're all just really frustrated, and it's like that tinderbox, one little spark, and everybody is just ready to jump on the next person. I'm not gonna repeat that on air. Eric, what did you miss? Well, you missed a lot. I was dancing, I was singing. We solved all of MCP's problems. I've made a lot of new friends. Yeah. You've missed not a heck of a lot. We were just talking through some stuff. So we've identified that there are kind of 3 different types of players. Well, we're gonna exclude influencers for the second, but no budget, low budget, and those that actually have the budget but really just kind of need a hand with strategy. And we talked through what type of levels of support and investment we as a community would want to make in each of those types of players. And we identified some watchouts, some context, and now we're just working through what is that we need to learn about a person as part of that application process for us to then make decisions. Apparently half the population, and yes, yep. Yeah, okay, Ed, yes, right. So Ed sent his notes to me yesterday before we had this, today's discussion. Oh, cool. Oh, so you ended up buying in Joe's district? That's awesome. Oh, bet it does, huh? Yeah. Good catch. I did, yeah. Last night, I guess this morning, not last night, this morning at 2:57, I opened this file to start to jot down some stuff. Eric, MCB Curious. Yes. So we had like, let me jot this down here. MCP Curious, because I think it's definitely important. The one thing, and I mentioned this a little bit. I think it was after you had left. The one thing I want to be cognizant of is until there's a similar onboarding or an identical onboarding program that would allow somebody to say, hey, I want to get started in Ethereum. Hey, I want to get started in Tron. Hey, I want to get started in both. I want to be mindful that this program is not overextending its reach into a world that could really start to hurt the Ethereum side, because the Ethereum side doesn't have this yet. And the Ethereum side doesn't have this not because nobody wants to help, but because it just actually truly is cost prohibitive. We can't do rentals. There's a lot of stuff that we can't do on the Ethereum side just yet, but we could probably pretty soon as those rentals go to level 2. Not level 2, layer 2. So jotting it down, it's something, 100% true. I just want to be mindful of the optics because I don't want any angry messages. And until MCP starts putting their foot down on that stuff, oh, there's my PTSD again. No, Eric, I mean, things aren't competitive. They're not. They're not, but there are, I mean, we know, right? There are people that will use that as an excuse to start trouble in Discord. And I want to make sure that when all is said and done, this is a net positive. So until MCP decides that they're going to ban people who are not positive influences in the community, I'm personally going to shy away from doing anything that could be perceived as us reaching over into another part of the game to draw attention away. Well, and that's the point, Eric, right? The object, you're right. You're spot. That's ideally, that's the way that this game would work. Is right now, like each city has a role to play in the total ecosystem. They're not connected, but they kind of are in some way, right? Which is, it makes total sense for somebody to start on the Tron side. Well, great. Once you make profit on the Tron side, which profitability on the Tron side, whether anybody wants to acknowledge and agree with it or not, it is more profitable on the Tron side. There's nothing that says like we can't onboard people into Tron and then help them migrate and expand into Ethereum as well. So you're spot on. Yep, you're right. I like that, Eric. So I think our gut check is, if we take that path, we're doing so because we're saying Tron is uniquely positioned to offer the easiest road into the game. However, our education, our support for that person should not be solely focused on getting them to learn everything about Tron. We actually want them to be well-rounded in their understanding of the broader fundamentals. Yeah. Yeah, Eric, I mean, it's said slightly differently. Tron is the logical place for a player on a budget to start, because there's no diminished experience. You get an identical experience, and dare I say, you get a lot more on the Tron side, because like if you look at the chat right now, if you read through it, almost everybody is a Tron player. So the community has come together to create a great experience for other people. It's a very welcoming environment. It's very active. So it's the perfect place to start, and then give somebody the ability to say, okay, now that I understand this game, it's a lot less overwhelming. I can now get a feel for how can I further improve my experience or gameplay or profitability by, working on the Ethereum side as well. Yep. All right, so let me flip back to Ed's notes here. What do they have? What do they need? So we are. They have. What do they? Right, so getting that information will help us determine if they're no budget, low budget, or info only. What resources do you have to help get you started? If any. Interesting, Bevins. It would be a very simple starter package for a new player. Being curious, just be 1 to 2,000 energy. First task is to sell the energy. This would make them understand many simple things: where packs sent, how to list them in the market, build balance between cheap and make less money. Or I like that. Devil's advocate. The only potential unintended consequence of that would be us giving 1 to 2,000 energy and somebody, a brand new player, dropping it 50% below market, which could cause other people in the game to try to compete with that pack and drop the price. Presumably, though, because these are very, very small packs, they would be bought up quickly and wouldn't sit out there for too long. But I like that, Bevins, because A, it replicates what you did with Jericho, but also, to your point, it helps them understand the mechanics and what they're inevitably going to need to be able to do with their other materials. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Starter packs to sell on market. I like that a lot. Helps raw revenue, but also learn gameplay and market mechanics. Shit, dude, that's awesome. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. Flip back here to Ed. How the player be willing to give back once he or she is up and running? I like that. I like that. So what we're trying to get at is, again, goes back to that: is this person going to be a positive influence in the community? But also kind of plants that seed notion that what we're expecting is, how is this person in turn, once they get themselves set up, how are they going to create incremental value for somebody else? And not so much for somebody who's already in the community, but like, how are they themselves going to help bring somebody else in and give them that same opportunity that they received? How will you help others once you are? That's a great question. Great question, Ed. All right. Mentorship. Want something that confirms that they understand the gameplay. Confirmation that they know how to play, and basic information about buildings and materials. A lot. I keep getting distracted. I see, like, in the camera in front of me, got the Sony A6400, which has that flip screen, and so I can see myself. And I keep looking, and every once in a while I see like a white spot in my hair, and I think I've got something in my hair, and it's just gray hair popping up. Look, they're all over the place. You can't really see them from here, but certain angles, they're just all over the place. All right. So confirmation they know how to play. Yeah, so language and geographical inputs. I think this is important, Ed, because as far as we need to confirm that we're actually going to be able to help support them And if they speak if they only speak a language that we don't understand, there could be. It shouldn't rule somebody out. It should just be something that we understand when there's a person that we maybe have to invest a little bit more in, either financially or from a time perspective, because they're from part of the world where we don't really have strong representation yet. So we need some demographic inputs to ensure we're evolving the program and their support to meet their needs and also account for any. I don't think of what the diplomatic way of saying this is. I want to say any cultural differences, but not like in a negative way. It's just more of like just understanding, having a global perspective versus just assuming that because I'm American that the person that I'm working with is also American. Their needs and also help us be more globally minded. All that. Bevins, I accidentally the day before my first day of high school. I'm not sure if that's what you call it in Europe. Is it high school or is it something else? I don't know. But anyways, I know you guys, you don't call it college, you call it university. So high school, be the 4 years before college or university. The day before, I went to get a haircut, and the woman that was cutting my hair, I used to get my hair cut kind of short, but not like close to my skin. And she put the clipper on, but it didn't bolt in all the way. And then she was talking to somebody else and not paying attention, and the attachment fell off, and she just buzzed the side of my head. So I had no choice but to shave my head entirely. Let me tell you something, my friend. I don't know if any of you have seen the movie E.T. My head shaved, my head looks like E.T.'s head. It's not pretty. You never want to see me without hair. Eric, know how to play is relative. Maybe they have watched a tutorial video. Yes, there needs to be something that confirms that they have a basic comprehension of the game and a foundation to start off, i.e. they've taken the steps to learn. They've invested their own time first. We have to confirm that they've invested some of their time so that we can then invest our time in them. Drip says maybe once they are established, they can pay back like union dues, 1% or something like that, like alumni funds after you graduate college, pay it forward. Yeah, I like the idea of there being an expectation that when they are up and online, they will pay it forward. There should be an expectation that, or an understanding that what we're looking for in our search are people who we're going to be able to make a true difference in their gameplay experience or their life, and that they themselves are excited to then pay it forward at some point, when they can. Sarah says, am I going to do manual admission process or will it be a questionnaire web-based app? Yes. Plan is for right now, because we've got MCP HQ, and we probably want to be sending these people to there anyways. We would host the ingestion process on MCP HQ. Whether it is a web form or a Google Sheet, I don't know. I would be looking for you guys to tell me what you would want. I want to make sure that there is some degree of privacy that should be adhered to when it comes to these submissions. So I think there is a review process or like a filtering process to say, hey, we got all this information from people. Everybody in the community doesn't need to know what this person's Tron address is. There's probably some questions that we might ask that are like purely for confirming somebody as a good applicant or filtering them out. And I don't necessarily know that I would want everybody's eyes to be privy to that. But at the point where we say, yeah, you know what, this person sounds like a good fit, that information, I think we as a community want to try to find a way where it's not just me personally saying I choose this person, and this person. There should be a way for us as a community to say, hey, we're all contributing to this, and therefore we should all have a say in who gets it. Best way to pay us back is to return the citizen or any other low stat citizen so someone else can benefit. Yeah, Bevins, that's exactly it, right? Because as they exit the program, we're going to get those rentals back, which we can then reissue. What we're not getting back is the energy and water, which no problem, keep that. Any of the sunk costs in Tron that we give them to take care of their fees, but that citizen could become an Achilles heel of ours and a bottleneck. So ideally, yeah, maybe that's it, Bevins. When they get established, our ask would be that they consider donating that citizen back to the fund so that we in turn can reissue it. Also, if we wanted to have some fun with it and be, I don't want to say as fair as possible because I don't think fair is always the way to go, but we could include that person if they go through this program and we love them and they're part of the community and they're on their feet. They in turn could actually play a role in selecting who they hand their citizen off to. Let me know what you think about that one. Put a word on each key section MCPHQ and one question me to write the word sentence throughout MCPHQ. Yes. Yes, I like that little scavenger hunt with a purpose, right? It's not just burying words randomly. It shows that you actually did go to this page. We bury something or we put something on the building and construction guide because when you go there, now you're aware that page exists and therefore it's bookmarked in your brain. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Paul says another way would be to also sell the plots from district openings cheaper, like buy them for 300 to 500 and sell them for 500 to 700 to the fund. That way they make a profit and the program wins also. Yes. Yes. The only you're talking about in the future, Pulse. So once they're started. Yep. Maz, mini waffle time. Enjoy them. Enjoy your day. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Thank you for joining. Paul says, it's an interesting concept. Maybe actually link the graduate with the new player so the fresh graduate can now teach the new player, like a personal mentor. I think there's something there, Pulse. That's the piece that we need because we ourselves are going to probably get to a point where like our time just becomes more and more constrained and limited. So while citizens might be a bottleneck for issuing new scholarships, time is also going to be important as well. Passing the baton also helps transfer the burden from original donors to benefactors. Yeah, Ed. Ed, you feel fairly comfortable that like if you were in this program and we said, hey, we're going to do everything we can to get you started, to get you set up for success, and look, you owe us nothing. We just want you to come in and be a positive influence in the community. And at the point where you are done with this program and you're on your own, that you in turn are going to help us onboard somebody as well. Oh, Eric, see that? Yeah, that would be perfect, right? If we get the citizen rental, then it's perfect. Yes. Yep. Yep. Eric, spot on. We need the citizen rental will be very, very important. Ed agrees. All right, so I like yeah, I like the benefactor. I like that one. I think that's something to strive for. Yep. Okay. I like it. What else do we want to potentially know? So we did say we want confirmation. that applicant will in turn help onboard a new applicant down the road once they're settled. Lovely. Wow, we got a lot of stuff here. A lot of stuff. What do you think, folks? Is there anything else that we're that comes to mind? Anything else we have to watch out for? Anything we want to contextualize? I know Ed brought up, poverty line. As of reading one article, poverty line is defined as $1.90 per day of income, so 27 Tron. So if we're trying to help that no budget player, our assumption is that we're really putting an emphasis on somebody who is at or below the poverty line with access to technology. Waffles. There. I think we got this. All right, so then with all of this said, so now that we know that there are basically 3 to 4 types of people that we're trying to bring in, and really our emphasis is on these 2, the no budget and low budget, but we want to provide ancillary educational support to those who have a budget but are just looking for some help getting to understand the game. We know what it is that we want to do to support those players. And now that we know what it is that we want to do to support those players, that allows us to determine what the fund actually needs to be receiving and maintaining in order to onboard these people. What we still have to figure out is, I guess, for that no budget player, what does that progression look like? How can we define they're now self-sufficient? I imagine that it's probably you own and operate a level 1 industrial. Not that you are vertically integrated and have energy and water, but you own and operate a level 1 industrial. Go for it, Bev. Thank you, buddy. Maybe we have to define how much money you need. I guess it's actually like at the point where you go from being a no budget to actually being considered a low budget because now you have part of what you need. All right, so we have to figure out as a group what that line in the sand is that says this person is now set up for success and they can graduate from this portion of the program. Yeah, Drip, I don't know. So Drip's question is good, which is, what do we do when we find somebody working the system? My assumption is that it's an assumed risk. It's we limit our exposure. We do as much as we can on the upfront to filter out any of those potential bad actors. But we also go into this eyes wide open with the understanding and the assumption that some folks are going to slip through. So when they do slip through, what is our exposure? Our exposure is we lose a citizen, and we lose maybe, let's call it like 100 Tron in what we'd provide to them for their fees, and we lose a little energy and water. The loss of the energy and water is small enough. I don't think that'll be an issue. The loss of the Tron, not a massive issue at the current prices, and if we dip into a bear market, then really not an issue. For me, it's more of the opportunity cost of if we lose that citizen or just the fact that they're using the citizen, we ourselves could have onboarded somebody else that would have been a good actor versus a bad actor. 500 Tron for each new player. Yeah, it sounds about right, Pulse. Right, because you're gonna need the citizen. Yeah, the citizen, the energy, and the water, which the energy and the water, let's contemplate as a very, very low cost because most of that should be donated. That sounds about right. Okay. Yeah, Pulse, if you don't mind, literally, like, no rush. But I want to try to figure out what the financials look like. So for a no budget versus low budget, depending on what our final outcome is, what does the fund have to invest in those people from a financial perspective to be able to get to there? And I'm assuming what we're saying is no budget, where essentially they have nothing at all. Um, Low budget is they've probably gone through the process. They have something, but they're missing something else. Um, so really, it's just a matter of how many times you have to collect from a level 1 industrial to be able to sell those materials back and make enough money to purchase a plot of land, build a building, staff, and collect it. And maybe also make a rule that while participating, you can't offer products below a certain price. This protects the player's profit and protects others from dumping while under favorable conditions. In other words, like, hey, we're going to give you this stuff, but you can't go and, like, don't undercut the market by 90%. Because, yes, you make a quick buck, but it's not good for the game. Yeah, Drip, that's it. It's exactly it. What's that? What do they need to have in their wallet or access to in order to acquire a plot of land, build, and staff their building? That's our objective, to get you from nothing to that point. So whatever we as a community have to invest to get you there, that's what our cost for the no budget or low budget player has to be. So if that's 500 Tron, if it's 1,000 Tron, if it's 1,500 Tron, it actually probably doesn't matter so much what that cost is, provided that we're aware of what it is, and then we as a community can say, hey, you know what? Yeah, like, we want to target 2 new people every month because that's what we as a community are willing to support financially. Or hell, you know what? It's 500 Tron. Absolutely. Like, let's get 20 people a month. We as a community can determine, like, what is worthwhile versus what is, diminishing return on the resources invested. Yeah, I like that Trip. It's like different stages in the process, little stage gates and milestones. Okay. All right. So we are coming up on 2 hours. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this here. I'm going to refer back to this. I'm going to try my absolute stinking hardest over the next couple of days to clean this up and to put it into a PDF to share back with the community. I'll drop it in the Discord so that we can all review. And then probably the next step after this would be, I don't really think we're missing anything. I want to talk to Astrolite and Yeti about that unminable option, because there are ways that we can support the program, either from a technological perspective and just making some of the admin stuff easier, as well as funding the program. So I want to talk to them. I've got to figure that out, and then after that, it's just a matter of, okay, present back to the community. This is what it's going to take to onboard a person. This is what we're going to do with that person. We're going to bring them from point A to point Z, and here's what it's going to cost us. Here's what we expect of them, and just confirm that people are comfortable with it. And then people who want to, participate and support the program and the fund, they can. Those that don't, that's completely okay. But we also need a better name than Tron Onboarding Fund. So if anybody has any thoughts on that one, let me know. Paul, I think another aspect could be the fund to buy plots and district openings. That would be ideal. The challenge becomes actually securing the plots. I personally have never had any luck at district openings. So it becomes one of those things where it's like, how do we go about acquiring that land that cheap? Is there a way that we can do that ourselves? Or are we put in a position where we've got that ethical dilemma of, well, there are people who have bots. Are we going to ask the bots to buy 1 or 2 plots of land for us to buy off of them? I will let everybody decide on that one. That one's not going to come from me. Active player accelerator. I like the accelerator. I love the terminology of accelerator, because that's important to Ed, right? Like, this should not be anything. Our branding and labeling of this should at no point in time ever make somebody feel diminished, right? You know, like, the scholarship terminology historically has been, you are really, really smart, we want you to come to our school, you don't have to pay tuition. It's not, you're poor, now you don't have to pay tuition. It's, you're gifted, we believe in you, we want to be part of your development. But more recently, that scholarship terminology is starting to become more closely associated with, you don't have the means to do this on your own. And that's important, that we don't build to match that thought process. We build to put a positive, focus on it. It's for player development. It's an accelerator. All those things. Tron accelerator program. I like it. Yeah, Pulse. I have personally, I have no problem with bots acting to the benefit of the total community. The question becomes, would the community believe and support a bot purchasing a plot of land and flipping it to the fund for a minor profit or no profit? Because yes, it is good for the game. However, one of our guiding principles here is, do not disrupt anybody's operation. And that bot purchasing the plot of land for the fund, that plot of land could have been purchased by somebody else. And even though the bot would inevitably have gotten it sooner, fact still matter. Like, it still stands that I can't justify it just because I'd say, well, it would have happened anyways. But I completely agree that there is an ethical gray area where, if the community believes that that is a net benefit, it is a role that bots could play. You were able to get someone for 300? Nice. Oh shit, sorry, Drip, I missed the unmineable. After ETH is no longer mineable, then unmineable will lose most of its liquidity. Monero will have to pick up all the slack. Yeah, I gotta learn more about that, but what I had heard was, essentially, those of us who have machines that have GPUs or CPUs, we could use it to mine and then essentially have the destination Tron wallet set up to be the funds wallet. And that little trickle of Tron coming in would be what's used as our primary operating fund. So nobody's ever actually donating Tron except for a specific purpose. Like, hey, I want to donate 5,000 Tron because you told me you need 5,000, like, you need 1,000 Tron per applicant, and I want to sponsor 5 people. I think that's also another thing, right? You could have a world where there are applicants, and maybe the fund has, like, hey, if you want to donate and you want to be, like, you just want to donate, great. But also, there could be people who step up as sponsors. So, Pulse, maybe that's you, and you say, hey, you know what, you tell me that you just need 1,000, you need 1,000 Tron, or you need X, Y, and Z to onboard a new person. I see that we have 7 applicants that we don't have a spot for yet. I would like to select person A and sponsor them. That could be an option too. Just jot that down here. Be sponsorship well as aligned donation. Okay. Amazing. All right. I think we have made literally phenomenal community changing progress on this one. Zero, you have 40 GPUs. I know nothing about mining. I have a house that runs purely on electricity, no gas, no oil, no nothing. I would love nothing more than to drop some solar panels on our roof. and mine, but I do not know the first thing about any of this stuff. That's a thing I need at some point. All right. So we have notes. I will probably try to find a way to share this just in its rough form with the community, so people have a chance. Maybe we can discuss it in the Tron chat a little bit more, and then based off of any feedback we get from folks who weren't able to participate, then I'll clean it up, incorporate those changes, and we'll have like a little PDF that we can refer back to. So you can help me with solar? Awesome. All right, everyone. Well, let's put a pin in it here. This was my most productive Sunday probably ever. Thank you so much for all of your time, your amazing ideas, your continued support. My one ask would just be keep pushing, make sure that we gain the support that we need for this, and let's build something together that we can truly be proud of. It's not just being proud of it because we're helping the project, but when all is said and done, like personally, what's going to make me feel the best at night when I'm getting into bed after this thing launches is our ability to say that we're making a difference in the lives of others. And a wonderful byproduct of us making that difference is that it's also helping the program. So let's try to stay true to that guiding principle, and we're going to do great things. We're going to do great things together. On that note, enjoy your Sunday. I will see you hopefully all on Saturday. Keep the chat alive in Discord. When I post this, please help engage others. Talk about it, even if it's just like you're talking about something we've already talked about. Planting those seeds in Discord is great because sometimes it draws some folks out that are a little bit shyer. So help me pull some folks out so that we can truly make this representative of the total community's objectives and ideas, and not just a select handful of vocal folks. So thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy your day. You have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.